Hi, welcome to the What's Happening podcast. I'm your host, Paul Murphy, and this season we're interviewing GPT creators. What's Happening is brought to you by 3Advance. It's the development team for startups, and we turn prompts into products. And today our very special guest is Jeffery Bradley. Jeffery is the founder of Self-Speak. He is the creator of Self-Speak Affirmation Mentor. And Jeff and I have known each other for, I think, almost 6 months now, because Jeffery actually hired 3Advance to experiment with the tech and build a product. But Jeffery, first off, welcome to the show and thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to be here. Thank you, Paul. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited about this, Jeff, because we had a chat last week, and every time we spoke about something, I was like, sorry, I hadn't hit record, because it was so interesting. And I can't wait to get into some of this right now. But I'd love to start, Jeff, with your background and even maybe about Self-Speak and why you came up with this idea for Self-Speak and what's the reason and passion behind that?
Well, I mean, years ago, I battled with depression a little bit. So I was trying to come up with some solutions to get off medication. And one of the things that I do in my research is affirmation and subliminal messaging. So I would buy all these CDs and cassette tapes and just play them over and over and over again till my brain kind of figured out that, there's a better world out here than all this depressed side. So it using those type of tools really changed my life. And I continue to use them 10, 20 years later. So, but now, I really want to make it more personalized. I want to hear my voice. I want to hear myself telling me these things. And I would, in the old application, you can record them yourself. You can record, if you do 10 affirmations, you can record 10 of them, but that takes a lot of time. So with all this advancement in AI and cloning and everything, I thought, well, maybe if we can get a way where I can just record my voice one time, and it doesn't matter how many affirmations I use, it can do it immediately instead of taking all this time and recording. So that's the goal of Self-Speak. Use your own voice, listen to your own self, create your own affirmation that work for you, that resonate for you, and they'll be, in my opinion, more effective. As a matter of fact, my son was dealing with a little bit of depression. And I kind of showed him the concept of the Self-Speak. He said, wait a minute, you mean to tell me I could have used my own voice, listen to myself? And he said, oh my God, this is amazing. So we count on a good, and the more people I tell about, the more excited they get, but you got to really explain to them about the cloning part, which is very important.
Totally. I know, I think probably almost everybody in their adult life has experienced this at one point or another. And people find different ways of dealing with it. Personally, a big changing point in my life when I was going through some tough times was finding a gratitude journal. And I got a gratitude journal for 50 cents outside a garage sale. And it made a huge difference. So I can totally see how some things really, really work and speak to you. And I love the name Self-Speak. I think it's one of the most genius names. And at this stage, when you think every startup name has been found already, it hasn't. And it speaks so much to what you're trying to do with Self-Speak. And so, Jeff, to talk about, how you kind of realized that you could use AI. Were you into tech? You've got a tech background. How did you experiment, or how did you come up with even realizing, wait a second, I could use AI for doing this thing that I've done myself manually for a long time?
Well, my wife she works in AI. So when I met her, she started really telling me about artificial intelligence and things like that. And I was like, okay, so this technology is getting faster and it's taking on a lot of things that a lot of people do normally. So I'm sitting back waiting. I said, well, if they are, Google is putting all kinds of books on the internet, at some point it's going to come a time where it can do voices. So I kind of waited around to see they were getting there fast, Then in some of those applications, I think Microsoft had a True Voice, you can subscribe to their voices. So they were kind of getting there. So I just knew it was a matter of time before it came. And now I'm kind of frustrated. Then I got kind of frustrated. So this has to happen now. Then Speechify came along, I talked to you, and then there we go. So
now, I think we had started at some of our experiments with Well Said Labs. And then since then, we've seen, obviously, Speechify, which we're using at the moment. But one of the turning points I had personally as well was it was with Meta released the voice cloning in a different language.
Really?
And the same sort of feeling that you have around the power of your own voice, it made me think about is, is learning a language suddenly much easier if you hear it in your own voice inclination?
Yes.
Like there is a power in your own voice, right? And that's you discovered this yourself years and years ago.
Yes.
But it's fascinating that now that the technology has caught up. So did you go over to like where did you first try it out? Was it Speechify? Was it Well Said Labs? Or where did you start reading out or translating and voice cloning the first affirmations?
11 Labs. Before I even called you, I had went to their website and said you can clone your voice, and then I tried it. And I said, okay, I can do it, but I don't have that experience to really make it happen. But I know the capabilities are out there. So I tried 11 Labs. So I would go to ChatGPT and create the affirmation. Then I tried to upload them to 11 Labs, and then you had to do a lot of work. But they said you can do it. That's when I got in contact with you guys. So they said you can do it, but I can't see doing it. So I think I need some professional help here. So I was doing the 11 Live. Then Speechify came along with a more easier process. And that's how we got started.
And that's what, just to tell a story of you and I. So you reached out, I think it was like late of 2023 last year. And we were coming from a perspective saying, I think you had said what your vision was and what you wanted to do in your experiments. And at 3 Advanced, we were like, we just wanted to jump in and say, of course, 100% is possible. Let's roll, let's do it. Right. But we actually started with one of these prototyping sprints. And this is like one of the key sort of like offers that we have on our website right now is to put it out there that we're ready to experiment and test your assumptions and create like a functional version, but that's not ready to go to market, but that you can help sort of validate your own idea and even show friends and give them an opportunity as well. So I think that was a really great way for us to start. And, at what point did you feel, you just had to make this app, like you couldn't stop this thing, this needs to go to market? Was it during that process or was it that magic moment when you first tried 11 Labs?
Oh, no, I use this app every day. Every day I do affirmations. I take the dog for a walk. I do a 20-minute, 30-minute walk. And during that time, even any problem I'm working on, anything I'm thinking about it, that 15-minute walk or 20-minute walk, listen to my affirmation, renews my energy. And I come in like, oh, whatever I thought was a problem is not a problem. After listening to myself, talk to myself, like talking yourself into more energy or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I need to make it an easier process. Then, like I say, it took about an hour just to set it up, just to take a 15-minute walk. That's crazy. So do your affirmation, record them, and if you better make sure you got the right affirmation, because if you need to change, you got to re-record it. Man, I mean, they're great, but it's a lot of work. And with this process, it's amazing what it's doing right now. Just the little prototype where we are now, it's very amazing what we can do with it. Yeah.
It's funny that that's what we're all about, right? And that's why I was so excited when you showed up. And I think, I got to ask, where did you find 3 Advanced to begin with? Did you find us in Clutch?
Oh my God, Paul, man, I had no idea that the app market was like it was. I went to one site and put in a request to have people call me.
Yeah.
And like the next day, there were 10, 13 people calling you every day, and you're like, what's going on? And we could do this in 10 days. We could do this in 15 days. Just give us this X amount of dollars. And then, but we're working over here in India and we have to meet at this time of the day. And it's got really confusing. And when I talk to you, you kind of like, okay, Jeff, it's a simple process. This is how it works. And then you kind of explained to me the process. Then I kind of understood it. But you were the first one to really, you just said, yes, we can do it. You said, I love it. It's possible. Let's work on it. And that's all I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Most people out there are saying we can do whatever you want to do as long as you throw money at us and not explain anything to you. So
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate that. I feel like hopefully you've seen this too. We're kind of on the journey ourselves. We know that a lot of people say they're AI experts and they're not. Like everybody is new here. Everybody's just got into this over the last year. To be an expert at something, what do you have to spend 10,000 hours or 100,000 hours? What is it? But the point about it is like, this is new technology. Some things are possible. Some things are almost possible. And it's not just about, prompts, because anybody can go to ChatGPT and start making prompts but it's about programming the prompts and making sure that they're reliable, that they're safe, that they're secure. And then there's a user experience around it. So that's what I really appreciate you saying this. Like we don't want to overpromise, and that's the big thing
Right.
from the start. And then what we do want to do is over deliver. And we were, we moved slowly through it, and I feel like we moved at a good pace until the point where it's like, and finally we got access to Speechify. Whenever you had discovered Speechify in the middle of it, and as soon as you're like, hey, Speechify is where it's at, and we had mixed results with 11 Labs, and suddenly Speechify was a lot better. It's like, boom, let's roll, let's make it happen, and it's so exciting. So yeah, Self Speak, just to let everyone know, we're working on it right now. We hope to go live later this summer, and as Jeff has been describing, it allows you to generate affirmations and then clone them affirmations in your own voice, so you can pop in your earphones and, just like you say, Jeff, walk the dog or go for a hike and listen to these affirmations that are proven to be they're very impactful.
The cool thing about that is, like, it's not just for, whatever issues you work, it's for motivation. Like if like I'm going to a party and I'm an introvert, I go to ChatGPT and say, okay, give me some affirmation to help an introvert make it through the night. That's just tough. And it do it, and then you can pop them into your app, and just while you're driving there or walking there, you get some ideas, you're motivated. So when you get there, you're not so nervous, you got some idea. So there's so many different things you can use an application like this for, and it's not just for solving problems, but also helping you in different situations.
Absolutely. No, I love it. And once this app Self Speak goes live, you better believe I'm going to be using it myself, as pushing it out to everybody else I know, because it is powerful. And once you have the experience of hearing them on your own voice and taking away the hours and the time from actually creating it, it's pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
So Jeff, let's move into GPT for a second, because I've written my own GPT. Some of the team have put their own GPTs together, and we started the podcast, and I'll set the scene here. We started the podcast to highlight GPT creators, because I believe those people who are playing around with ChatGPT, like you have been, and the other services, and that are creating GPTs, are the innovators of the future. They're the shufflers and the movers that are the next generation of entrepreneurs. Now, for some of the folks that we've met so far, we are helping them take their GPT and turn it into a product. And that's why we're here, ultimately, to meet GPT creators so that we can possibly turn their GPT into a product. But your GPT that's in the store right now, it was the other way around. You were actually already in the process of developing a product, and then you decided, maybe I'll make a GPT. Talk about that. Why did you create the GPT?
Well, when we got to the point where we was experimenting with ChatGPT and the prompt engineering and everything, Kane did a great job of showing me how it all worked.
Yeah.
I said, well, this is a good way to test it. I go ahead and create me a cheap GPT and test it and see how it works. And when you start setting up a GPT, OpenAI do a good job of showing you how to set it up. I was like, oh, wow, this is pretty exciting. So now you got to really work the prompt engineering part down. But once I took the prompt engineering that we were working on in the app and tested with the GPT, it worked. It was phenomenal. And I said, oh my God, this is very. So you can see how they can work with each other. You can use the same prompting with your product and then use the GPT, but the app does way more than just, but you see how effective it is with the GPT. So that's a really cool app. I really like it. It's really cool. You get 15 affirmations and you're ready to rock and roll, But you got to kind of teach people how to use it, because it does different things on the iPhone versus the desktop version. So you got to do a little bit of instruction. But outside of that, it's really cool how it works.
Yeah. So that's a Self Speak affirmation mentor, and it's actually over on the GPT store at the moment. So if you go to the GPT store, explore OpenAI, ChatGPT, explore GPTs, you'll find it in there. And you got any feedback, that'll certainly help play into your game plan as well. The more people testing it and giving you feedback and validation, the better it is for your own product development too, I'm sure.
And they can do a search on. You search affirmation when you go to chat. You type in affirmation and pull up all the apps that are in that particular field.
Yeah. And Jeff, what I'm really curious about as well is, and the GPT store is growing, and OpenAI they just open it up so you can use it, I think, without having to be a fully paid member.
Oh, really?
Limits. But there are other, obviously OpenAI want to push as many people into their ecosystem as possible. And I wonder if a GPT often becomes almost like a funnel for you to acquire future customers, future users of the app. In the ideal world, people who are over there using this affirmation mentor on the GPT store, that they understand, well, hey, this is like, I'm scratching the surface here, but I have an app that takes care of all of this and reads it back in my own voice. Boom, another user that's actually bought in and got the incentive to actually download and use your app every day.
Well, the thing is with the usually for a promotion too, it's kind of weird because you're like, well, which one of these I'm going to promote? Because one can offset to the other one, and they work with each other. You can say, if you want more information, go over to the GPT. But then in the GPT, you can put on the bottom, go over to the app. So
totally,
it kind of works hand in hand. You got to make a decision there. Do I want to try to make money off GPT? I just funnel it over to the app, or vice versa. But I think they're going to do it automatically. They haven't said anything on how they're going to pay you, but I think they're going to do it automatically. So I guess it's up to.
Yeah, I think it's funny. This world is changing all the time. And it's hard to know what's going to happen in a few weeks or certainly years' time. I think your custom app that's fully zoned into this one thing, which is improving your mental wellness through self-spoken affirmations. You have the ability to customize that UI and UX and listen to your users that are there for that very reason, and then create the user experience around it. I think is a great place to be. But it doesn't block you. It doesn't block you from I expect OpenAI's the GPT store is going to evolve. It's going to change. It's going to add more functionality and features, and it's possible. I don't know if this is going to happen, but it's possible that becomes a type of app store or a type of that's where your first stop is on many ways. That's the app you open. But if that's the case, being a first mover over there means that the UX from your app can possibly come back into the GPT store when that starts becoming a bit developed further. So it could go anywhere from here. I think having first mover's advantage is fantastic.
Yeah, I'm curious which direction they're heading with it. I'm just glad we're in there now. But I'm very curious as to how they're going to allow you to promote within the store. I think everybody's waiting to see what's going to be at Apple store. I think they get kind of lost with that comparison. You're saying like, oh, it's going to be just like the Apple store, but it's not. We don't know what it's going to be. But right now, they did a great job of allowing you to create something using their tools. They got some really good tools in there. And if you're willing to sit there and learn and look at a lot of videos or talk to people like you can really make some stuff happen. Yeah. But it's really good. They got a really good tool to show you how to set it up and walk you through the process.
I've said this a few times already on the show is, just encouraging people to get on over to the GPT store, and there's a little button that says create on the top right. Click it, play around, because it's funny, as you say, the tooling, OpenAI actually help you through prompts to figure out what you want it to do. So it's like a low barrier to getting prototyping.
Right. And you got to tell it the amazing part is if you're comfortable with telling it what to do, it'll do it.
Yeah.
But you got to make sure that you know what to tell it. It's interesting how that works. It's there to help you, but you better know what you need to help on. So that's interesting. Yeah.
So, Jeff, let me tell you, we're touching a bit about the future of OpenAI and the GPT store, but do you have an unpopular opinion, or do you have any thoughts around where AI is going generally? Is there any, how do you feel about the direction of things? Are you, there's a lot of cynics, there's a lot of people that fear AI, there's a lot of people excited about it, obviously like you and I, that are seeing impact on mental health and wellness that's possible now. But where do you see, what excites you about the future? Are there any things coming down the pipe that you can envisage?
You talk as far as how do I feel about AI and its impact on society and the workload and things like that. My wife and I were having this conversation, and I was explaining to us, they're talking about, I think as it grows and it takes on more responsibility or jobs, they allow human beings to be more human beings. Like you have more time to exercise and meditate and learn how to eat good foods and learn how to be sociable. You get to learn how to be a human being now, because right now we have to learn how to live. We have to do so much stuff to work and now the AI is coming along. People see it as replacing jobs. I see it as yes, but it's also allowing you to become a full human being. Like now you can concentrate on things about yourself or growing on,
I love that.
you understand what I'm saying? Instead of,
Yeah.
like, I go to GPT and I ask a lot of questions about health related issues, and bam, I got an answer. So I don't have to think about that. I go ahead and do something else, or meditation, or running, or business. I don't have to. It's a good starting point to help me save a lot of time. And that time I save, I can put it back into myself. And I see human beings growing into human beings better as it gets more powerful.
That's I really appreciate that perspective, because I'll take back to like I coming to America years ago. It's very hard to figure out how the system works. There's so many pieces of this system,
Right.
from like getting a social security card to a credit card to like all of the pieces of just being alive in the world that it is this way because of technology.
Right.
But these things that we have to learn how to do, everything's going to be more accessible. Everything's going to be sort of like, you're going to be walked through processes by someone who speaks the same language, where that is very, very difficult right now, especially for people, especially who don't speak English, who are in the States that don't speak English. You have to rely on an interpreter, where it's gonna have someone who can speak your language with the unlimited information,
Right.
and will speak to you empathetically,
Exactly.
which is a gift in many ways.
When my wife is from Italy, and you remember those apps that you can point it to somebody's face and say, "Talk in here," and it would translate it. I
Yes.
spent a whole week over there with my phone walking around. I had a great time talking to people, and it was kind of cumbersome at some points, but it worked. But today, oh my God, it's through the roof. I have no problem going to Italy right now. No issue whatsoever with Chat GDP in my hand, because it can translate quickly that fast. So.
Spectacular. Yeah, I'm going to a wedding in 2 weeks in Poland, and you better believe I'm going to be pulling that thing out. Even for my kids, I got one of those. I got one of those rabbit devices. Have you seen the orange rabbit devices?
Yeah,
They don't. Yeah, so they're not phones. They're very limited. Very, very limited. They're not as good as like ChatGPT, certainly 4.0, but they're pretty good. And like for a kid that it doesn't have YouTube, it doesn't have games, it doesn't even have a screen to play with. It just can take a picture and it can translate and it can answer questions. So I'm gonna be putting that in my little boy's hand, and he can run around and make friends with all of the Polish kids that are there too.
Okay. It's all is it like a Amazon Alexa without a cord on it?
Yeah, it's like, and it's got a lot of slack online, Jeff. It's got a lot of slack about not being good enough, because it's competing. Like the model is competing with OpenAI, so it's not as good, it's not as fast, but it has a little camera that you can point it at something and say, "Explain this" or "Translate this." Again, for accessibility, for like folks that have issues, whether it's blindness or having any kind of accessibility issues, or simply wanting to learn a language or understand a language.
Really? Okay.
Device that can help with that. So let me report back on it.
Okay. Thank you. I looked at it. I was like, this doesn't seem like. Does it have a Chat GDP or something on it? Does it have a?
It does. It has. I'm not sure what model or engine it's using, but it does have it. And again, it's the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi is free. So once you buy it, it was like $200, but once you buy it, it's unlimited in terms of use, or it's supposedly unlimited as long as it's on Wi-Fi. So it works. I'll be honest. If you have a phone and you have ChatGPT, there's no reason to use this thing.
Okay.
Again, I don't want my kids on my phone all the time. I'm like, well, you know what? We'll let them play around with this, see if they can communicate. I'm sure they'll get in no trouble whatsoever.
Well, what's interesting, my daughter, she'll come and get my phone. She'll go in ChatGPT and she start communicating, talking to it, and it recognizes who she is. Like, you're a 9-year-old kid, so let's have a conversation. But that's a great idea. But she has to take my phone and walk away with it. No, that's not going to happen. So this is a great idea. I'm going to have to check that out. Great idea.
We'll do all our experiments by going on trips to Europe. How about that?
Okay.
Love it.
I tell you, when I went to, years ago, I had some Google glasses, and I went to Italy, and for some reason they thought I was Stevie Wonder.
Oh my God.
And they thought the glasses allowed me to see. So
Yeah, I hope you rolled with that one. You're like, yeah, that's what's going on here.
So you got to be careful when you take technology overseas. You never know.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah, I got Google Glass back in the day as well. So you're just like me, Jeff. You buy these toys, you want to play around with them, you're curious to see how they work. And it's funny because just recently WWDC happened. I don't know if you were tuning in, but there's like Siri's being revamped, and it's like got a on device. It's got on device AI as well as connecting to ChatGPT in what they say is a safe way. But it
Wow.
just means that it come September, October, whenever they release the new iPhone, everybody's going to be know what generative AI is. Everybody's going to be, able to do these things that they haven't been able to do before. That you and I have an insight into, but the rest of the world doesn't. It's coming for everyone else too. They're gonna get it.
But I think it's I, I say about 4 out of 10 people I talk to have no idea what ChatGPT is. Didn't know how to use it. Never heard of it. Don't want to use that stuff. If something's wrong with it, that surprises me. You and I think the whole world knows about this because they're making a lot of money and they're investing a lot of money. But I'm curious, how many people are really going to use it? Don't even know it exists. So
Yeah. Well, I think that's how it is right now. Like I bet you're probably similar to me. You're probably keeping up pretty well with technology, and usually you're thinking, wow, I'm way behind. I don't
right.
know what's going on the cutting edge. But then you look the other direction, and you're like you say, so many people have just heard about it. So many people have not tried it. So many people don't even know what it is. But that's what I suspect with the new iPhone and iOS rolling it out is that people will start to realize, wow, this can translate. This can improve my writing, improve my reading and understanding, improve my communication. Yeah. And they're shipping an app called Image Playground for similar to Midjourney or OpenAI's image generation as well. But people are going to know how to use it, and it's going to be all over the ads on TV. They're going to be pushing it hard.
Oh my God!
Yeah. So
that's massive.
Yeah, everybody's
for both companies.
Yes. So it's happening. Well, Jeff, anything else you want to talk about in terms of your GPT or self-speak, or how will people get in contact with you if they want to, give you feedback or ask you more questions about it?
Well, you go to selfspeak.com, selfspeak.com. And also you can go to the ChatGPT, the GPT that's on OpenAI, and do a search on that. And either way, you can check out the app as well as the GPT and see how it works. And you can get in touch with me via that.
Awesome. Well, Jeff, we're going to be wrapping up the pod in a couple minutes. I want to switch it around to you for a second because you've been working with 3 Advanced for the last few months. We're going live within the next couple of months. Have you any questions for me about AI, GPTs, or anything else that remains unanswered?
Oh wow, man! You guys are so much on the edge, and a lot of things that there are a lot of I'm just learning. There's so many LLMs. So how do y'all keep up with all the LLMs and how to refer people to which one to use and what not to use?
Yeah.
How do you do that? Because like I say, every day I'm reading about a new one, and I'm calling Kate. Like, hey, what about this? What is this? Just don't worry about that. That's not a big deal, So how do you keep up with all of just so many different types of way technology is moving? You guys seem to know a lot about everything. So how do you? Something we need to be concerned with is just something that you guys can.
Yeah. We obviously don't know it all. We know the pieces that we've kept up to date with. Like my version of knowledge is different than Darren's. Obviously, as CTO, Kane is doing his thing, and as a product manager, he's interested in different things as well. Uh-huh. But we do have one of the ways we do the base level is like we put out that newsletter every week, What's Happening newsletter, and we cover the news in tech that helps. Like for a start, we need to do the research in terms of what's going to appear in the newsletter. And then we've got to draft and edit the newsletter. So we're keeping up to date with the news as it is, and then going deeper whenever something specifically interests us.
Right.
The other answer, Jeff, as well, is like we have, we're investing in our team. Like we hired a really incredible LLM engineer called Giorgio. He's working on some of our cutting edge AI stuff. So he and Darren are really taking on risky projects for us, but ones that we can really put the effort in to learn, because it's not just about that one-time project. It's about the future potential of 3 Advanced. So by investing in each opportunity that we have to talk about AI and to code with AI. It's helping build up our repertoire, but we won't know it all. Like we won't know it all. Where we are, where our expertise really is like it's LLM engineering. It's customizing models, but it's not really over here with OpenAI. We're over here with the consumers and people like you who are very innovative, that are smart, that see an opportunity, and we see us as being able to help create user experiences utilizing these tools. So if we stay in this space and go really deep in that, we can be very, hopefully, like successful and profitable and helpful all at the same time.
Right. And another big thing is you can sometimes go to these like ChatGPT and say, how do I create an app? And it'll give you all this 10-page, all this thing you're supposed to do. and my experience with you is completely different. It's like more, that's good. That's a way to do it. But this is how it really happens. I think that's extremely important thing that you do in regards to separating truth from fact. Fiction, truth from fiction.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, because this is the thing, and this is where we'd be left at. We used to be an app development company, but we don't just hear what wants to be built and build it exactly. It's more like trying to figure out together, work together as to what the best version of the product is.
Right.
Because people have to use it at the end of the day, and it's got to be sticky. It's got to be simple, and you got to have space to grow, but also it's just got to be so easy and create and include the value. And if we're taking lessons from the hundreds of apps that we've built in the past and giving them to you, you're more likely to be successful. You're ultimately more likely to be successful. And then ultimately we're going to be successful because you'll work with us for a long time. We'll get to you. Your app will be a flagship app where we'll advertise it and show people what we can do. And then ultimately you'll tell your friends about us. And, so it's all our futures are interconnected, and it's worth the effort.
I know my friend coming with a competitive product. I'm not going to tell him about you, so it's not going to work that way. But I'll do my best.
No competitors. We got you.
Okay.
I love it. Well, Jeff, any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
No, I appreciate meeting you. I appreciate this process I'm going through. I appreciate the things I'm learning. And most importantly, that whatever issue to come up, whatever question I have, I can get an answer or someone explain it to me. So that's huge, and I appreciate that.
Very cool. Well, right. I will send the regards to Kane and big ups to him. He's your product manager. He's fantastic, and obviously the team are as excited as we are. Kieran did a great job with the design, and Jingdi. I know how it's looking. It's just coming together really nicely. I'm kind of like trying to step back because I want it to be ready to go before I jump in and start playing with it. But I cannot wait to see this thing go live. I really can't.
And Paul, I've told my wife she teaches AI. So if you ever want to do a quickie out of her, she'll be more than happy to
We should connect. Tell you what to do, Jeff. Whenever SelfSpeak goes live, we'll have some kind of party, whether it's online or offline. We'll celebrate SelfSpeak going live, and I get a chance to meet her, and we'll talk shop as well.
There you go. Sounds great.
Excellent. Well, Jeff, thanks again for joining me. I love every time we chat. We have great conversations, and I'm glad to be able to sharing one of these conversations with the What's Happening listeners too. So thanks again, and thank you everybody for joining us for this episode of What's Happening GPT Creators. Podcast, as always, is brought to you by 3 Advanced, the apps and AI development team for startups. You can catch us on YouTube. You can watch it there, or on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, all these places. And don't forget to go to 3advanced.com/news and sign up for our newsletter. It's a lot of fun every week. It turns tech into a enjoyable, fun experience. There's memes, there's jokes, and there's also a lot of really, really great content and information about AI and tech and everything else. So head on over there and 3advanced.com. And you got any questions for me, hit us up at 3Advance. And Jeffrey, check out SelfSpeak. Jeff, again, thanks for joining us, and see you all next time.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.